Hi everyone, my name is Romey Louangvilay and I'm the head of communications and creative director for an agency called ELMNTL. Today I'm going to go over the online marketing basics. This is the agenda that I'll go over, but quickly I'll explain who I am just so you're more familiar with my experience, my background, also what my agency does. And I'll explain what online marketing is, to methodologies and tools that we use for our own clients that you can also incorporate into your own planning, and also share my own thoughts on why, even if you're not in the marketing position or marketing industry, why as a manufacturer and exporter, you should still be aware of what goes on. So first, about ELMNTL myself. We are an agency rooted in storytelling. I lead the communications department, which also focuses on creative storytelling. And what this means is we work with brands to identify distinguishing factors that we can really turn into a story that inspires fans to learn more about you, and also connected to a call to action for sales. Even with destinations, we always try to find a story that can lead a customer to a sales funnel and track that for our brands. So as I said earlier, even if you're not in the marketing industry, as a manufacturer, it's very important to know how your customers find you and why they tend to support your brand and your product and your service offerings. So that's what we're here to do. Another important factor about ELMNTL is that we really value diversity. DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, isn't something we just support. We actually help brands really identify that aspect of their company. We also worked with a nonprofit called Travel Unity in creating DEI standards for destinations. It's going through a piloting program right now, but it's something that, again, it's very core to what we do, and it's part of even our client base and how we select clients that we want to work with. We work from all over. We're kind of scattered around the globe. We are primarily headquartered in New York City with colleagues in Denver, Dallas, Sao Paulo, Manila, and Istanbul. Some of the clients that we work with, mostly a lot of tourism boards in the Southeast Asian region, but we also work with the Department of International Trade Promotion for the Ministry of Commerce for the Royal Thai government. This includes creating and launching an ad campaign that we led for their Thailand Trust Mark certificate, which qualifies and also kind of gives a certification that some product is really high quality and is like the stamp of approval from the Royal Thai government. So we launched that program in the US as well. We've also done a lot of e-commerce work for UFC Merchandise Store, which is one of the largest sports organizations in the US. This is a snapshot of the awards that we've won doing digital work. Now, to the presentation. What is online marketing? A lot of people may know this already, and it may be very simple for a lot of you here today, but again, I wanted to provide a topic and resources broad enough that can engage a lot of people who may not be from the marketing world. So at a glance, online marketing is the practice of leveraging web-based and digital channels to kind of communicate a message that you want to get across to your fan base or your customers. A lot of the services, which I'll cover in the next slide, include digital advertising, public relations, online, the blogger world, influencer marketing, and so on. Now, you might be asking, again, I am an exporter and marketer. I'm not a marketer, but I'm an exporter. Why do I have to know these things? And the simple solution is the fact that it has to do with your sales. If you only focus on sales or the operation of your business, you forget why your customers love you, and you forget why and how they found you and why they're continuing to engage with you. So again, whether you're marketing or not, it's still important skills to have in order to grow your business. Some common online marketing services include SEM, which includes SEO, which is the creation, optimization of organic, unpaid content that you have on your website. This could be your blog post, your website copy, etc. The other discipline within SEM is PPC, or paid search. This is using search engines like Bing or Google and purchasing paid ads based on keyword targeting and phrases so people can find you a lot more targetedly. There's social media marketing. So you may be familiar with Facebook, Instagram, etc. But in terms of marketing, social media is a great way to engage your fans and also find the type of interest that really pique them in terms of why they engage with your post and why they convert into actually being a customer. The next thing is email marketing. This is a great way to nurture your leads that you have and to keep them updated. And another common services plan, which is very broadly spoken, is content marketing. That is similar to SEO. It involves creating blog posts, white papers, e-newsletters, etc. Content that is digestible and people find of value. A lot of it will be entertainment pieces, but again, content marketing should be an important tactic in your marketing funnel. Now, some of this may be overwhelming for a lot of people, especially if you're not familiar with these terms, but a lot of questions that we get with new clients, especially, is where do we even start with online marketing? My answer is you need to have a digital footprint. We're in a world today where if it's not online on Instagram or on social media, then it didn't happen. Honestly, realistically speaking, we know that's not to be the case, but in terms of how your customers are perceiving your own credibility, you need to be searchable. If someone can't find you online, they're not going to invest time going through the yellow pages or print materials or even walking into your store unless they can find something about you. It's that credibility factor that, the public relations industry really brings to brands, and also influencer marketing as well. So my advice is a digital footprint. This includes creating a website with information about you, including press that may be print press or online press that you've been featured in, and also just having your basic social media channels. This is your basic Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, etc. Again, these are usually what people look for in terms of finding who you are and also what your core values are. And again, I bring up the word core values because in today's consumer, you can't just sell a product or a service. You need to sell your story to a customer, and your story is what you care about. There's a lot of research that indicates that people want to support brands that have similar interests in them. And when I say the word similar interests, that means the passion points, the nonprofits you support, how you treat your employees, and also your trade partners that you associate with. All that is considered the perception of your brand that customers look to. And without all these elements, people aren't going to trust your brand, and it's hard for you to even break out into a new market. But again, there's more into that, but that's for another topic for a longer length of time that I don't have today. The next thing is, why is this important for you? I kept referencing this earlier, but the problem is that stupid commercial that was aired back in the 90s where someone said, if you build it, they will come. People took this to be gospel and assume, oh, let me just create a service product offering, or let me create a product in the marketplace, because if I build it, they're going to come. That does not work, especially in 2021 when you're competing with offline marketing, which is like your billboards, your print magazines, your street team, your experiential, your events, your media desk side, your appointments with publicists, etc. And you're also competing with the online world. That's people on their mobile phones, on Facebook, Instagram, on Twitter. That's people on Reddit reading forums. There's people on different various blog websites. And there's also people seeing advertising. So you're having a lot of competition. I just mentioned about 20 different things that people are seeing and engaging with on a minute-by-minute basis. So if you create something, they're not going to come unless you happen to be in their world. You cannot penetrate your customer without learning where they are. So if they don't know you built something, they're not going to come. Now, where does marketing and online marketing especially fall within the sales funnel? There's various versions of the sales funnel in terms of the customer journey. I simplified it for this presentation. On the top of the funnel, you have your lead generation, and that is the awareness, interest, and consideration phase. This is the phase where your customers are first learning about you or hearing about you or even repeat hearing about you. Because the general rule of thumb is, in order for a customer to move from the awareness phase into the intent evaluation phase, they need to see something about 6 or 7 times. So that means for me to learn about your brand and for me to even consider purchasing your brand, I need to hear about it about 6 other places or 6 other times before I'm like, you know what, let me consider it. So what I'm trying to say is that you can't just have one online marketing discipline and put all your eggs in a basket. You have to be able to be where your customers are going to be and constantly remind them, nudging them in today's terms. So again, the top part, online marketing, that really falls heavily on the lead generation. It gives you your leads, and it also finds insight. That's where you can find out how your customers are engaging with your product, what they're saying about your product, and also how they're sharing your own news content with their friends for advocacy. Now, the next phase after that is going to be the intent of the evaluation. This is where, okay, you grabbed your customer's attention. And again, I'm using the word customer very, very loosely. This could be the end customer that actually does the shopping, or it could be a B2B customer that you sell and distribute to. So again, using the word customer very loosely. So again, before any customer wants to consider and evaluate your product or your servicing, they have to see you 6 or 7 times. When you get to this stage, this is where online peer reviews are going to be very, very crucial, especially your public relations. If you're especially doing B2B and you're doing wholesale to retailers, public relations is going to be key. You want that third-party credibility from a news reporter or a popular opinion writer to talk about you. Because if there's no consumer demand, why would a B2B customer even purchase your product for their inventory? So you need to create that demand, you need to create that hype. So PR is really helpful in this. Online reviews from Yelp and TripAdvisor, depending on whatever your product is, also helps, because at the end of the day, people want to spend money where their friends kind of spend money, or they kind of get that pure approval in terms of purchasing something. And obviously the last page would be when the sales transaction ended or completed. So that would be the purchase part of the sales funnel. So as you can see, before you get to the sales funnel, you have to go through all these different steps. And all these different steps is where online marketing comes into play, especially in the awareness/lead gen phase. And it plays a little part of it also in the phase 2, where you go into intent and evaluation. But obviously online reviews and PR is going to be really key here. Now, the advantage that online marketing offers your brand, even if you're not in the discipline, is one, you can understand your popularity a lot more. The more people like you, the more people talk about you, the more people share your product on their own personal feed. That gives you insight to how you want to position your brand, or how you might want to relaunch your brand for a new target audience. The next phase would be, the next benefit would be finding your competitors. You never know, you could be a global company, but a mom and pop shop on the rise, or a startup that's getting a lot of hype could be your next competitor. This is where online marketing comes into play, because you're engaging with your customers in real time. The next thing would be emphasizing what brand values resonates with your customers. This is what I was mentioning earlier, and why I mentioned our value of DEI. So customers today, they care about certain passion points, and they want to make sure that the brands that they're supporting, or the companies or the trade partners you work with that they're supporting, also support the same values. Hence why you see today a lot of brands supporting Black Lives Matter, Stop Asian Hate, and other nonprofits. Brands like Citibank and Chase and even exported goods, they're marking their claim in terms of their political alliance, because they know their customer base care about issues like that. So they promote that. And that's what manufacturers should do once they find out the audience base and what resonates with them. Now, in terms of online marketing, it also strengthens your credibility. As I mentioned earlier, if it doesn't happen on Instagram, it didn't happen in real life. That's the perception, the concept a lot of customers have today. So online marketing is very important to establish your credibility. And obviously, at the end of the day, online marketing helps with your sales funnel, helps increase your sales, helps you find new trade partners. It helps open doors for you to enter new countries and new markets and territories. Now, the methodology, I'm going to give some example of tools that we use to work with our clients and the brands that we work with. If you guys want to know more information on how to fill it out, or to even get started on it, you're more than welcome to contact me later on. But some things we do before we even launch a campaign is we plan a SWOT analysis. We try to find the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats around your particular brand, your service offering, and also your communication strategy. This is the very first thing we do when we're launching a fully integrated large-scale campaign, because we have to know all the potential outcomes, especially if you're going to a new market. Again, this is mainly for startups that we work with and also for brands that are entering new markets. Like if you're an American brand going over to Asia or vice versa, which we've worked with many brands doing that, we try to map out your competitor landscape and we categorize them by the challenger brands that you have, the leaders in the space, the niche players that have a niche audience but also overlap with their audience, also the visionary brands. The visionary brands are the brands that cross into every industry and every product category. Think of Apple, or think of Tesla. They're in their own product category, but they also are compared by other industries as well. This is a great tool that we use to really map out the competitor landscape and also shift our messaging when needed. Now, another thing that online marketing helps with that's also going to be important before you execute is finding your audience. If you're an established brand, this tool or this methodology and approach also works well. It helps you uncover new audiences that you may not even considered. For example, we worked with a destination tourism board, and they didn't even consider digital nomads as a viable audience for a COVID rebound campaign. So we helped them uncover this by really like sitting down with them, reading insights and learning who's in their destination right now and who have been flying back and forth even during the pandemic. So we're able to map out that particular audience. So usually what we do is we identify 1 or 2 or 3 audience segments that we want to include facts, and what's what we call head facts. These are the basic general information that map out who they are. This could be their income level, their category segment like millennials or Gen Z or Gen X. It could be what they do in terms of what they, where they travel to. Then we also include their passion points. This is where they play. Are they Apple lovers? Are they PC users? Are they fitness enthusiasts? So we try to combine both the facts about them and how they spend along with their passion points. So after you uncover the audiences, we have to identify with our brands reasons for this audience to believe in your product or service offering. That's where the passion points come in and also just the basic facts about who they are. Once you identify those things, finding and then mapping back to what makes your product unique helps you kind of craft the reasons for your audience to believe. Now, in terms of planning your approach and strategy, and I know I'm going through this very, very quickly within a time frame, but what we do is we have a calendar, we map out the service discipline, the number of days, and how it would look if we were looking at it at a chart, at a one glance, like when is PR launching and what is happening during the PR launch, which would be the social media content marketing, display ads, etc. Same thing on the PPC ad side is what is happening during this phase as well. And then we also have budgets and per marketing channel that we work with clients on and helping them really allocate resources in terms of communicating and finding your audience. Now, we come to the closing thoughts. I know I briefly went over the methodology, but that's definitely for a later topic with more time. I do want to leave you by saying that if you're new to marketing or you're new to a new country or new territory, the first things I'm always going to say is please have a digital footprint in that market. That could be a location-based social media channel, or a translated website version of your actual website, or just local press and influencers mentioning your brand. Before you do anything, always have some type of presence for people to reference to. Before that, then you find your audience, you find your story, and you craft it. You work with your agency or your marketing person, and that's how you're going to get your sales. Is there any questions? I'll be here to answer. Thank you.